Today, we're going to be going over the top 10 Outlanders that every player, new and old, should have in Fortnite Save the World. This is, of course, my opinion. I've covered all of the best Outlanders in this video, linked down below, and in my tier list, linked down below. So if you've already enjoyed those resources, you probably know where this video is going, but I figured I'd distill it down to 10 specific recommendations for everybody. So we're going to be starting off with my favorite Outlander to recommend, which is Crossbones Barret. This support perk is something I have named the best support perk in the game for years. The one thing I'll concede is that searching for coconuts in containers can be a little random. Sometimes it can take over 10 minutes to get one coconut. Sometimes you get 15 of them in 3 seconds. It's just RNG, and it's annoying in the long run, but it's something I put up with for a very long time because that healing bonus from the coconuts is 33% of your health. A third of your health. That scales with Blast from the Past. So if you have a shotgun loadout with 2 million health, Blast from the Past, this will give you almost 700,000 health. So because of that scaling, it's really, really useful, but it doesn't stop there. It heals you over the course of 30 seconds at a rate that's faster than 2 maxed out campfires. And during that 30-second period, if you have Crossbones Barret in support, you can get that 16% damage bonus. So if it wasn't already amazing for the healing alone would be enough to use this, but it's giving you a 16% damage bonus on top of that. That's really fantastic. And best of all, he's actually super easy to get. If you go all the way to the event section and then scroll to the pirate heroes, you can see that you can just flux him. You can get him at any point for 100 legendary flux, and I think that's totally worth it. Now, the next hero I want to recommend is Clip. She is everybody's favorite farmer because she has a commander perk, makes it to where you get a 100% chance for additional items. This means she actually doubles the amount of loot you get. Huge shout out to Darker Wolf. He's a viewer of mine who is contesting a theory where there was a rumor in the community where she didn't work on batteries. So I said, hey man, go punch 1,000 cars and tell me what she does. And he did. So I'm going to link this video down below. I highly recommend watching it where he explains more thoroughly, but you can see the results where Clip is not involved at all. Clip is in support and Clip is in the lead. She clearly doubled the amount of nuts and bolts he got, doubled the amount of batteries. Really, really useful hero. Curiously enough, in support, she didn't improve how many batteries he got. I don't know if that's just a rounding error or something or an anomaly, but there you go. There's some science, but Clip is fantastic for farming. On the note of farming, we're going to be moving over to the historic section where we've got Fossil Southie. If you are farming as an Outlander, he needs to be in support or in the lead because when Blast from the Past is active, you won't have a shield. He'll be constantly generating energy. Super good, not only for farming as an Outlander, but activating abilities. If you're running any loadout with an ability, you typically want Happy Holidays, but if you can get away with Blast from the Past, he'll be generating energy constantly. This is also good for ninjas with Blast from the Past. Paley Luna in the lead, Fossil Southie in support. If you're using the heavy attack on your Ravager or lunging with your Spectre Blade or whatever you might be doing, Ear Splitter, he will be generating plenty of energy to keep that going, and he's a great hero all around. Now, the last of the big trio for farming is Archaeolo-Jess. You really cannot complete an anti-material charge build without her. She just decreases how much energy it costs. Not a complicated hero at all. You can put her in the lead, but you'll get more punches on average with Fossil Southie and the energy to generate faster, but she's plenty good in support, and I highly recommend using her to complete any farming loadout that you've got going on. Now, I might have made it sound like I was done with farming, but I do want this video to be targeted at new players, and I just mentioned 3 event heroes. By the way, the timeline will be linked in the description down below if you guys ever want to see when stuff comes around. That's a super good resource because if you don't have every hero mentioned, that will definitely help you out a lot. But Pathfinder Jess is a base game hero that's available in the missions and upgrade llamas almost every single day. She's super accessible, and honestly, she's a one-person farming loadout. Increasing your pickaxe damage by 50% is all you need. You'll break rocks and trees plenty fast, you can smack through everything that you need, and she won't give you as many resources as Clip, but she's available extremely early on, year-round, and she'll get the job done nonetheless. So she's a really good hero to pick up if you're new to the game. Now, let's get into the fun side of Outlanders. Head to the Fortnite section. We're going to talk about BeetleJess. She is available with Flux. She gives you a 225% damage bonus to pistols and SMGs. I understand that pistols are not some of the strongest weapons in the game, but I'm going to link my best pistols video down below, and you can see that some of them are actually quite fantastic, including the Mythic pistol. SMGs are also amazing. A lot of them are very good. I'll link my best SMGs video down below. She just gives you a massive crit damage bonus. If you run her with Totally Rockin' Out, the team perk that ups your crit rating, she is going to be extremely useful. I use her all the time. time, very, very highly recommended. Now, the other side of BeetleJess is actually Ranger Deadeye in the Outlanders section, another base game hero that's available all the time. He's the other side of that. He gives you a 50% damage bonus to pistols and SMGs. It's not as big of a number as crits, but he's active with every single bullet. If you're running him in the lead, you want BeetleJess in support if you're running a crit build. If you're running BeetleJess in the lead, you want him in support. He's also an Outlander, and so is BeetleJess, obviously, but that means that they have Phase Shift and Teddy and Seismic Smash. These are really good abilities for getting around the map, killing enemies remotely. Seismic Smash is really good for clearing a crowd of enemies in front of you. This is all fantastic enough without the Outlander Punch, the anti-material charge. So you can farm while doing a tremendous amount of damage with his abilities and the weapons that you're using. Great overall hero. I have mine supercharged to 144. The next hero I want to talk about is actually a support hero. Yeah, main stage Quinn activates Totally Rockin' Out. You can flux her any time of the year, and she gives you sub wafers. If you just smack metal objects, she'll give you these sub wafers, and if you eat them, it activates Rock and Rift. You don't even need the team perk to enjoy this. This is a 50% damage bonus and melee attack speed bonus, which is really, really strong. It is decaying over 8 seconds, so it's not completely 100% active. I know this isn't a soldiers video, but something like Breakbeat Wildcat could keep that going, or even Varsity Hero with Fumble. All of these heroes are flexible, but today's focus is main stage Quinn because she's an Outlander, and if you are trying to activate Totally Rockin' Out, she is going to be extremely useful. I use wafers all the time in my videos to activate that team perk consistently, and I even have a video breaking down wafers versus coconuts. Since I get that question all the time, that will clear up a lot of questions. That'll be linked down below. Now, another very fun hero is actually in the holiday section, all the way over here. Subzero Zenith. Yeah, he's an Outlander. He's kind of a ninja in a way. I made my best bow loadouts video featuring a Zenith build because he and bows are a great combo, because bows are class of snipers in our current version of the game, and that means you can crit with them and freeze them and keep them frozen forever while doing a meaningful amount of damage. He's really good. In fact, not only did I run him in the 160s with this video and in that bow loadouts video I already mentioned, but I also ran him in Frost Knight. He is extremely good at freezing smashers at any power level. 500 power level smashers frozen in their tracks. Useless. He's not the best for raw damage, but when the smasher can't move, you can just switch off to a pot shot, a deatomizer. If a teammate is running a stronger loadout than you, then you can freeze them in place. They can do the damage. He's an excellent hero for not just support, but offense. Overall, really, really fun to use. Highly recommend picking him up. The next hero I'm going to recommend is less of a beginner-friendly hero, but more in line with my top 10 must-have weapons in Save the World. In that video, around the same position in the list, I talked about the Blackout AR, the extreme amount of damage that you can get by activating that weapon's ability, doing millions of damage to crowds of enemies. I personally very much enjoy that build because it's extremely fun. It's extremely fun to work towards. The loadout takes a lot of heroes that you might not have right away, so it's kind of a fun little prize to work towards, and the damage makes it super worth it. It's the strongest loadout I've ever seen, and the commander perk for that is Flash AC. He is super, super useful in that build, almost required to do as much damage as you can. He decreases your phase shift cooldown, which means you're just dashing around more often, and not only is he great for that loadout, but just going around quicker around the map. If you're trying to do anything quickly, speedrunning dungeons, for example, he's an excellent hero to have, and he's available in the Chinese New Year section. You can flux him any time of the year, and of course, he's available in those Lunar Llamas. The very last hero that I want to mention is a hero that I can't really avoid talking about without getting comments, and that's Cyberclops. He is, in my opinion, one of the more overrated heroes in the game. He is a full offense Outlander. Teddy, Shock Tower, Seismic Smash, huge damage bonus to the energy damage, and it has that chance to zap nearby enemies. It's a thing. He exists. A lot of people put him in support for Xenon Bow loadouts. I don't recommend that because his support perk is not as strong as people seem to think. He does technically activate from energy traps, so if you're using energy stealing electric fields, for example, he will have a chance to zap some extra damage. That's not nothing, but it's close to it. He is one of the lowest if you consider the fact that 20% of the time you're doing 58%, that's an average of 11.6% extra damage, and it requires an enemy to be nearby, which there isn't always one, so it's even less than that in the real world situations that he'd be used in. So I just feel like the math doesn't support it. I've never had anybody convince me otherwise. I ran him in the 160s, for example, with a highly recommended loadout, and he was kind of good. If you're a new player and you pick him up from the Sci-Fi Llamas, I don't recommend fluxing him, but if you get him from the Sci-Fi Llamas, they come around the shop randomly for X-ray tickets. He is alright in the early game. You can turn your brain off, spam his Teddy, spam his Shock Tower, his Seismic Smash, and get by, but he won't do much in the end game, as I've probably been showing on screen. I don't know. He's a hero that everybody loves. I feel like I should mention him, give you guys my take on it, because if I don't mention him, I feel like it's going to get brought up. So there you go. Now, instead of ending this video talking crap about Cyberclops, I'm going to move to the Art Deco heroes and give you one more extra recommendation in Gumshoe. She actually is really solid. She increases your fragment abilities. That's Shock Tower and Teddy by 30%. And you don't even need a fragment to activate it. So she's just a passive damage bonus. There is a base game hero, Trailblazer Quinn, who does something very similar, but she's only Teddy damage. So Gumshoe is doing both. Now, she's available in the Art Deco llamas, which do come around to the shop semi-frequently. We see them like 5 or 6 times a year, I think. So you might have a chance to pick her up with normal X-ray tickets. You might want to flux her. She's pretty good in support, but yeah, figured I'd end this note on a more positive hero suggestion. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. I've got tons of videos on the channel and a couple more recommended here at the end. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and again, thanks for watching. And then